So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at The Greatest Day, Utah Beach, Battle for Normandy, Volume 2, and what might be the longest title in wargaming. This is part of the GTS series, the Grand Tactical series, from Multi-Man Publishing. This particular game is designed by Tom Holliday, Joe Chacon, and Vincent LaFerre. I think that's how you spell that. I'll say it. If it's not, that's okay. The overall system is designed by none other than Adam Starkweather. So this is The Greatest Day, Utah Beach. The initial volume of this is I think it's Greatest Day, Gold, Sword, and Juneau. So they did kind of the Commonwealth beaches. We've got Utah, and who knows, I presume that Omaha is coming in the future at some point. So as you can tell, this is a massive box. It's kind of double the size of a regular box. Here I happen to have this handy. For reference, this is one box and this is two boxes. That's the size of it. But it is kind of a standard depth. But this is very heavy and there's a lot of stuff in it. We hope to get this played this year, or at least some of it. We'll probably do a scenario here or there, but this will be our first GTS game that we've played. I actually own at least one other. I think I've got No Question of Surrender, but that's a little different, but maybe a good solo game because it's kind of one-sided apparently, with the French just having to defend. But this is something that we've seen for a really long time in development. They would bring this and have it spread out over an unconscionably large size at WBC, and they'd be rolling it, and it was something really enjoyable. We've got, I think we sat down and had them on video, kind of talked about this again like 2018. So it's been under a lot of development, a lot of play testing, and here we are with the final thing, and I'm really excited to kind of dive in. So let's just kind of crack it open because it is an unconscionable amount of maps and counter sheets. There's a lot of plays as well. So I'm going to take this off. So you do get in here a little baggie with two white D10s, a blue, a green, and then a light and a blue D6. And for reference, if you've not played one of these, what they did at WBC is they just had them all in like an empty peanut butter jar that was cleaned out, obviously, and they would just shake it and reference the color of the die that you needed. I think there's a lot of players that do this when you throw so many dice, because you'll use this one, and then if you need to look at these ones, you've already pre-rolled them, basically. So let's kind of take a look. I guess one of the things popped off. Maybe I had a nose around through this earlier. I can't remember if I did or not. So this is the 2.0 GTS series rules of play. So the rules of play themselves, this is a 40-pager, and this is 2 columns. Now, that's a lot of white space, so what I'm telling you is yeah, this is a lot of rules, but I've seen more densely packed rules. And there's a lot of, it's full color with a lot of examples in it. So hopefully this makes it nice and easy to kind of really get into. So that's the newest version of the rules. I presume that these are backwards compatible, but I'm sure there's notes in there that tell us that. Did I go through and kind of stack everything? Yes, I did. Okay. When this came, so I've opened it, nosed through the stuff, and then I put it back in. What you will find when you open this is that it's like counter sheet, play aid, map, play aid, counter sheet, play aid, map. Like it's all mixed and stacked in. I don't know why that happens when they're packaging these. If that helps with shipping or damage to certain components, I don't really know. But just know that it won't look quite as organized as this. And so what we have here. Oh yeah, how about that? I guess I punched out some of the mine ones when I was doing that. I just have no memory of that. I have no memory of this place. Follow your nose. Okay. Okay. I don't really know where to start. So let's just get going with this small little sheet here. So it looks like, so these are Utah. So, for reference, if you've not played this game, this is a tactical level game at a grand scale. you will be playing as companies. Your counters are companies, and you will have assets that you're switching between your platoons, and leaders. It's a big system. If you've played the CSS, the company scale system by Adam Starkweather for Compass Games, they are not dissimilar. They have a similar type of focus and scale. Rules-wise, I don't know how different they are. I think GTS was the original one, but same designer, same concepts, and same level and the kinds of things you're doing. So I'm looking forward to this for that reason, because we played CSS and it was really good. But yeah, so you'll have like these really specific, like this is a heavy anti-aircraft something, right? Like we're talking like really specific unit types. There is a lot of markers in this game. You will need tweezers to play it. But yeah, markers for column, markers for suppressed, people working, blocking things up, men rallying markers. Again, there's a ton of these markers here. We have all these IPs. Looks like we've got rubble with no road. It's more suppressed markers, and it's just sheets of markers. Let's have a look. We have a lot of units here, which we'll take a look at. Let's take a look at more of the markers, just to kind of get those done with. So we have light barrage markers, an unconscionable amount of mines, and then over here we have heavy barrage markers, cleared minefields, and actual mines. Not great. Don't do that. Do we have anything else here, or is this all units? Okay. Oh, here we have more of those column markers. Here we have our cohesion hits. Cohesion hits is something that's prevalent in a lot of games under different names and nomenclatures, but cohesion hits do exactly what you think that they do. You're going to take penalties as you take more cohesion hits, basically. Okay, let's have a look at some of these units. And this is what we're going to talk about with how big and detailed this game is. So you will have those off-map sheets where you will have like your troop quality changed, different attachments at battalion levels, and like pending tasks that you will be tracking as you give orders. Okay, who do we have here? This is... oh, I can't read this, it's very small. Kampfgruppe Rohrbach. So these kind of tan ones are Germans here, and you have all sorts of kind of pillbox emplacement type things, garrisons. It looks like, but yeah, again, you get down into lots of different like wheeled and mobile artillery types. Like, again, this is the detail that we're getting into here. We have a Wurfgerät, all sorts of stuff. Some of them are dual-sided, some of them are not. Like, you've got these artilleries, and a lot of them can be, like, tracted up and then moved. So the tan ones, also Germans. Grey ones, also Germans here. Again, I think these are a lot of static units. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what that symbol means. I can't remember offhand. Here we've got flak guns. And then we have a bunch of markers here for times, dates, weathers, phone lines open, obstacles on the beaches, supplied markers, things like that. Again, all dual-sided. Okay, green. It looks like we have the 82nd All-American Airborne Division. Nice bright green there. So we have all of our kind of All-American 82nd units right here as well. But yeah, we're broken down into this is the 505th, I think it's A Company, is it Division and Battalion? Am I a moron? No. Division's high. So it's A Platoon, 1st Company, 501st Battalion. That's what it is. Part of the 82nd Division. You knew that. Okay, whew, we got there in the end. But that's the scale at which we're going. We have like a little paratrooper platoon, There is an HQ platoon which has machine guns attached. You will be moving your weapons around and attaching them or positioning them like on a ridge, supporting your two kind of regular rifle platoons. You will be doing that kind of thing, and it's awesome. Okay, so that's the 82nd kind of sheet right there. Over here we look like we might be back to Joymans. We have much more infantry units instead of, I think those were garrisons previously. Yeah, there's 12th Infantry Regiment, it looks like, and the 8th Infantry Regiment. But these are... Okay. I only said that because that's an awful eagle-looking guy. Maybe that's not that symbol. And they're green, so that wouldn't make sense that they're Joymans. Well, yeah, I mean, look. They have M10s. They have priests. Yeah, good old-fashioned Americans, I guess. They have 2nd Armored Division, but I think that's on a different sheet. I just can't find an identifier for who that is. 4th Infantry Division, is that what it is? 4th Infantry Division. I apologize to everyone. On this sheet, again, more Allied forces. If we look here, and these guys are the... Engineer? These are a bunch of engineer battalions, it looks like. Hard to say what, though. These aren't Germans down here, but we have a bunch of air support markers as well. Ooh. And these do, like in just moving, this almost kind of popped out. These are a nice thick white core, and that punched really easily, so just know that that's the kind of game that you're getting. It's not the old ones where you had to like cut and rip them off the sprues, basically. Again, more units, an unconscionable amount of units. And again, you're going to play a lot of these scenario-based, and you're not going to use them all. In a given scenario, unless you're playing like the big campaign, which you want to do at some point, but this is also a huge game, space-wise, with the maps and the way that they are laid out as well. Yeah, 101st Airborne Screaming Eagles on that one. And then we're back to some counters. So we have more cohesion hits. It looks like we've got green, probably Allied mines there, maybe. Bunch of more green IP markers, column markers. And then we have over here in black more Germans. Did we put the SS in black? Of course. And then in blue over here, it looks like more Germans. I wonder if the blue are some form of Luftwaffe division. Sometimes they're depicted in blue. Oh, maybe those are the ones in light blue. Hard to say. But yeah, we're going through, I think there's like 16 sheets of counters. I have no idea how this is all going to get back in the box once it's all punched and clipped. I genuinely don't. So if you have a solution for that, please let me know. Because at best, I'm going to be able to fit 4 counter trays in here. Maybe, yeah, which this is way more counters than will fit in that. So this might end up being a baggies one, which would be okay. It's not my favorite thing because I think a game this big needs to be organized. So now we have the game's exclusive rules. Terrain effects, kind of legend on the back. And these are all of the rules for this particular game, including beach obstacles, terrain types, different vehicle types, and like the units. Oh, did I get those right? Oh, okay, they were just regular infantry. As opposed to... Oh, that's just the German signification for infantry, as opposed to the Western Allies. Okay, I didn't know that. And then we have, oh no, Scenario Book 1, which means there's a second scenario book, I presume? Yep, there is. Scenario book 3, that means there's a 2 somewhere. Okay. So this is learning introductory and intermediate scenarios. This is probably where we're going to start, having never played this before. But it'll tell you the layout of the maps if you're going to use maps, but they also have some map cards on here so that you can much more easily commit to doing some of these smaller ones. But yeah, this is just the introductory scenarios, setups, special scenario rules, orders of battle, victory conditions, all of that, just for the learning stuff. Not an insignificant. So where's book 2? Hey, here it is. Scenario book 2, advanced scenarios. So that's this one here and this one here, and probably a lot of this is reinforcements, OOBs, things like that. But yeah, this is just another scenario book. And then we have the campaign game scenario. And when we talk about this being a huge game, this is what we mean. If you were to lay out all of the maps and do everything, this takes up so much space, it's kind of crazy. And I don't even... we might have the space for it. We won't do it, that's the reality of it. But we have a custom table built, and that still might not be big enough. This is like a convention, stack up 7 tables together and kind of get it and go. There's a nice little kind of list of what you get in here. Oh, there was that half sheet of counters, which was this one right here. And so some of it's errata for Operation Mercury, Race for Bastogne, and the other GTS, Greatest Day game. So that's what these things are, I believe. And then there's some just generic extra markers that can be used for any of them if needed. So I thought that might have been an errata sheet, but nice to have that confirmed. Here's the rest of my mind markers that I had prior punched by accident. You do have a sheet of clarifications and errata. At least it is only one sheet, and it looks like most of that is errata from the scenarios, which actually is pretty good instead of like the counters are wrong and the maps were misprinted and the rules are wrong. There's like 2 rules clarifications. That's honestly, for a game that has had 120 pages of scenarios and 80 pages of rules, that's not bad. That is not bad. We do have kind of this rules summary, which hopefully I'll read the rules and then we can kind of burn it down to this of just kind of what to do conceptually with an expanded sequence of play. And then I think in the back here, yeah, if you draw like, it's got flow charts of, hey, you drew this chit that is not your regular activation, do this stuff. So hopefully we can play with just this after we've kind of buzzed the rules. That'd be great. So now we're going to get into a lot of the kind of counter sheets and maps. So this is just a little placeholder to keep all that separated so it doesn't get wrecked in shipping. Okay, this is just a piece of paper. Don't need that. That was just protective. So this is a couple of these kind of beach sheets that you'll just stick on the map when you do the landings part of it in some of the scenarios. A couple of charts and tables. These are identical, including terrain effects chart notes, combat results, different types of fire modifiers, and then a sequence of play and things you can do, basically, like a menu. So a nice little small introductory learning scenario on a single sheet. Might be somewhere where we start something like that. Terrain effects chart. This is dual-sided. Okay, now we're getting into the kind of command displays. So not only do you have that massive map setup, if you're doing the whole thing, each division has their own card where you're going to track all of their different qualities, where they're at composition-wise and contents, command ratings and dispatch ratings, things like that. These are single-sided, and so, again, it's table creep, right? Smaller scenarios, you're going to have maybe 1, 2, or 3 of these, not terrible, but when you're playing the big game, it takes a lot of space. So these guys, we have 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers, 243rd Infantry, 352nd Infantry, 4th Infantry Division, apologize to them once again, 709th Infantry Division, 77th Infantry Division, 82nd Airborne, 9th Infantry Division, 90th Infantry Division, 91st Luftlander Infantry, Assault Force Utah North and South, and then we have 5th Corps Assets. We have another terrain effects chart that's identical to the other one, and then we have our turn record chart and weather table, which is pretty cool if we're all honest with ourselves. So I think based on scenarios and days, you can play through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then within those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a night turn, 9 turns in each day. Not a short game, because especially with how much stuff you're doing in each of those turns. Okay, and let's get to the maps. We're nearly there. One thing I do like is that they gave you this big box so that the regular 22 by 34s are only folded twice. So you don't have as many creases and as much stuff to lay out. But still, we have, this is the Samurai Dumont scenario. I think this might be one that we do kind of as a kind of a learning game. It's meatier than some of the other ones, but also still small and manageable, where we can actually play it in a session and learn it and pick it up. On the back of it, we do have map G, or yes, for scenario map. This particular map for scenario G, and there's a few like that. So we have just this kind of awkward single sheet that doesn't unfold, that just kind of gets stuck on the side of a couple extra maps. But if you have a look at the detail on the map, this is one of the things that I really like about this is an attractive map to play on. It's a nice mixture of being detailed and busy and varied, while still being readable and enjoyable to play upon. But yeah, these have a, I don't know if you can tell. Here, let me see if I can hold it up to the light. You cannot tell. These, you can. These are a matte finish. They do not have that gloss or that sheen on them. What that means is that maybe you have a slightly less layer of protection, but it means that you're not going to have the glare. If you look over in the corner, you don't have that glare that I have on the shiny table. Is basically gone under the maps. That's really nice for us, because it means we can take nice pictures and nice videos, but also just playing, you don't have to kind of move your head every 3 seconds to try and be like, oh, what's that unit over there? Or what's that map's hex over there? But yeah, just having these folded twice also means you have less of that creasing. So I hope that that also makes a more manageable difference for laying them out flat and getting them sorted without as much need for plexi, for example. There you have all these kind of swampy wetlands and rivers, all of this bocage, forests, nice roads delineated, towns, small villages, little hamlets and things like that, even the hills. And again, one thing I like about this is that each of these hexes, as nice as it looks, has the dot in the middle that tells you precisely what terrain this hex is, which a lot of games omit, and then you're like, well, what counts as the majority of the hex in the terrain? Because they draw them where there's like 50-50, and that's always the place where you're fighting the combat, and it's never clear. And so over here we have the beach, and this one's dual-sided. So we're going to get over here the Ijini map. And I think the last thing we have is the Carentan scenario. So this is the quarantine scenario. So you can play just this, which will be 101st, converging on quarantine after landing. Looks like we're the drop zones. So I imagine you'll drop, and then it's rally everyone, march on quarantine in time. But then you also have the major beaches and the inroads on the reverse side for the campaign game. So I think, now that we've spent 25 minutes doing this, I think that is everything that's in the game. It is a huge amount, and this is not a cheap game. It is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. There is a lot of rules to read, but the reality is these 2 books, I'm setting aside. I don't got to read those for another 5 years, because by the time it'll take that long to get through this stuff, it'll take me that long to honestly get it punched and clipped. This might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 counter sheets. That might be the most I've ever punched in a game. I think Grant's done some that are pretty much, that are similar to that, but that's a lot. I don't know if I'm really looking forward to that. Errata, a couple bits and pieces, and the dice. I am very much looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to playing this. So the Greatest Day Utah Beach from MMP, part of their GTS system, ask me if I've got the new edition of Devil's Cauldron on pre-order. Of course I do. But I was scared of this because of the size of it, but once I learned really what it was, we played CSS, and that this is... CSS was Compass's answer to GTS, and I'm like, oh, I loved CSS. This core system is by the same designer. I'm going to love this too. So I'm looking forward to this immensely, but appreciate you very much for sticking around and tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.